Today I'm going to tell you an interesting story about the life of Saint Martin de Porres. Saint Martin is also known as the patron saint of racial harmony, social justice, and illegitimate children. He was born on December 9, 1579 in Lima, Peru, which at that time was then under the Spanish Empire. According to his records, he was the illegitimate son of a Spanish nobleman named Don Juan de Porta, and his mother was Ana Velázquez, a freed African slave. In his young age, his father abandoned him and his mother, and they were left in poverty. But even though they were living in a humble lifestyle, he showed an extraordinary spirituality. When he was 15 years old, he wanted to join the Dominican convent of the Rosary. However, he was not accepted because under Peruvian law, people of African and Native American descent were not allowed from becoming full members of any religious order. But because of his humility and unwavering dedication, the friars accepted him only as a servant in the convent. There, he worked as a cook, house cleaner, laundry worker, and would even take care of the sick friars in the monastery. Then, after 8 years of dedication, when he was 23 years old, the superiors in the convent allowed him to take his vows as a third order of St. Dominic. However, the entire friars in the convent rejected the idea and mocked him for being an illegitimate son and of African Latino descent. With great humility, Martin told his superiors that he did not wish to take the vows, hoping to avoid any racial tension within the convent. But after years of faithful service, his holiness and dedication touched everyone's heart, and eventually he took his vows, where he became a Dominican lay brother in 1603. Here, he devoted much of his time praying in front of the Blessed Sacrament, and because of his profound devotion and humility, God granted him the gift of performing miracles. One day, a contagious epidemic swept through the town of Lima, infecting many, including half of the friars in the monastery. Though the sick brothers were locked in their rooms to prevent the spread, Martin was said to have miraculously passed through the locked doors to bring them medicine and comfort. He also walked the streets carrying a simple jug of water, offering it to the sick who lay suffering along the roads, and those who drank the water were miraculously healed. Many people who experienced his wonders went to the monastery to share their experiences, leading his superiors to recognize his divine gift of healing. But even though he helped cure many people, he still experienced racial discrimination both inside and outside the convent. On November 3, 1639, Martin happily passed away at the age of 60 years old. Witnesses said that as he died, a sweet fragrance filled the room, which was a sign of his sanctity. After his death, miracles continued to be reported through his intercession, and later he was canonized by Pope John Paul II, calling him as the patron saint of racial harmony and social justice. Today, his body is resting inside a black coffin, located inside the Basilica of Santo Domingo in Lima, Peru. His feast day is celebrated every 3rd of November. If you like stories like this, support us, follow, like, and subscribe.